welcome in. There's a lot to talk about. As I'm sure you guys are probably aware, there's a new season of DC Dual Force that's about to start. And there's a lot of exciting news because this season is going to be all about the Suicide Squad. So Anarchy and Tyranny are about to get a huge upgrade. Let's talk about the brand new mini set coming to DC Dual Force, the Suicide Squad. As you can see here, we have a new categorization. So before we had stuff like inmates, and now we're actually going to have this new categorization of Suicide Squad. So to start us off here, Amanda Waller, she is going to be a critical piece of this new card set that is coming out. I think Anarchy and Tyranny are going to get a huge buff with this. After another friendly Suicide Squad recruit is KO'd, create a Suicide Squad recruit in your hand. That means, say you've got a Suicide Squad deck. You've got her on the board. As long as Amanda Waller is on the board, she's kind of like a Ra's al Ghul, except instead of returning the KO'd card that gets destroyed into your hand, you're just going to grab a new Suicide Squad card. There are obviously some familiar faces that we know and love here. Probably chief among them is King Shark. King Shark is a shark. But some other familiar faces as well. So let's just go through the list here. First off, we have Bloodsport. After another friendly Suicide Squad recruit is KO'd, deal 2 damage to each enemy leader. So that's kind of interesting because while this is on the board, he's kind of like the Silver Joker recruit. Every time an inmate would get knocked out, that would do a little bit of damage. Very similar, except in this case, obviously, it's a Suicide Squad member. King Shark, he's going to be a 7/6 gold card, and he has Hunter. So King Shark can attack damaged recruits while he's exhausted. You know with sharks, when there's blood in the water and they can smell that? That's kind of like King Shark here. So he's got Hunter, and even if you exhaust him with something like Cryokinesis, you're going to be able to potentially still play him if there are any damaged recruits on your opponent's side. So I think this could be a really interesting card to incorporate. Rick Flag is going to be another critical piece of this equation here. He comes in hidden, but he has a really interesting deploy, which is he gives your other Suicide Squad recruits +2 and hidden. So it's kind of like Escape Tunnel with the inmates, but they also get this +2 buff. I could see these cards being actually quite strong. And here's another really interesting thing about this season. We're, for the first time, going to be introduced to cards that have multiple recruit types. We know that Harley has been an Arkham inmate, but now, in addition to the Arkham inmate, she's also a Suicide Squad member. Killer Croc, he's been a Arkham inmate, but is also a Suicide Squad member. So we've had for a while the Silver Harley Quinn recruit card, but this is going to be a little bit different. So with Harley here, after another friendly Suicide Squad recruit is KO'd, Harley gets +3. And as of now, it seems like that will be permanent. It doesn't seem like it is just for the turn. So if you keep Harley alive, she potentially could be doing a lot of damage. You could easily get her up to 9 or even 12 damage. I wonder almost if you could mix her also with something like Super Strength. That could be pretty interesting. Food for thought. Killer Croc. Well, Killer Croc is quite interesting because not only is he a 7/4 silver recruit, but after another friendly Suicide Squad recruit is KO'd on your turn, Killer Croc makes a bonus attack. However, he has Chaotic, so you don't know where that attack is going to land. Obviously, him having 4 health is not ideal, but him doing 7 damage is quite strong. I actually could see him being paired with something like the gold Batman Who Laughs recruit, because he makes chaotic recruits invincible on your turn. If you had a Arkham inmate who gets knocked out and Killer Croc is on the board, and then you drop the gold Batman Who Laughs card, guess what? You get to do 14 damage without taking any damage at all. So I could see that being quite strong, actually. And Harley's going to be an interesting pick. I actually think the silver recruit now is going to be even more interesting. When you have Adrenaline, she gets Flurry as well. That could be super interesting. But guys, the fun doesn't stop there. Let's talk about this free card here. This is an action card. Cranial Explosion. Sacrifice a Suicide Squad recruit to give your Suicide Squad recruits everywhere +2. This card could make a lot of sense, especially with something like Harley Quinn, right? She goes from a 3 to a 6 when you sacrifice one of your recruits. And for the rest of the game, it's kind of like Embrace Madness. Your Suicide recruits everywhere will get +2/+2, but that could be really interesting. And another action card. This is the card, honestly, that I think is going to be the most interesting card probably of this season, which is Welcome to Task Force X. Give Suicide Squad recruits in your deck +2, very strong. Then each recruit in your deck joins the Suicide Squad. What? So think about that. You might be in a situation where you end up giving your Might recruits all the categorization of Suicide Squad. Like, that could be really strong. I could see that also working really well with something like Tactics. This card, I think, is going to be one of the strongest in the deck because it basically turns your whole deck, all of the recruits in your deck, into Suicide Squad members. So that is pretty freaking awesome, I'm not gonna lie. And finally, we also have a new leader card, and it's something that you guys have been talking about for a while. I think you guys had a suspicion that it was coming, and that is General Zod. Another Kryptonian. He's got some more nefarious intentions than Superman himself. He is gonna be a 4-charge leader. He's gonna get +7 and be invincible. So very similar to Superman. Superman takes three charges instead of 4, except that when you play Zod, you're going to exhaust each enemy in Zod's lane, and they can't protect this turn. I could see this being paired with something like a Doomsday deck, and all of a sudden now, you're able to just drop that massive 10 damage from Doomsday once you play this card. So similar to Doomsday, it's a 4-charge card, but man, the damage that you could potentially inflict during that turn is wild. Doomsday would be 10 damage, Zod would be another 7. So potentially you're doing up to 17 damage in a lane where the leaders just cannot protect. So guys, what a fascinating mini set here. And there's one last card here. Starro the Conqueror, gold recruit card. It's going to be a really interesting utility card to put into your deck. When you play Starro, what you are essentially doing is summoning bronze recruits from your opponent's deck into your empty spaces. So ideally you want to play this when your board is mostly empty to sort of maximize how many recruits that you're pulling. But this could be really interesting because even though they're bronze recruits you're putting onto the board, and by gold turn this is going to be a little bit late to be playing bronze recruits, it's also recruits that you're taking out of your opponent's deck. And I kind of look at it kind of like bringing the clowns. It's kind of similar to that, except you are using actual bronze recruits, which, you know, depending on who you're playing, might actually be a little bit stronger than bringing the clowns, because you might end up summoning a couple of Minotaurs, a couple of Bluebirds, and getting some gadgets. I could see this being actually quite an effective card. Very exciting here. I think this is really, really going to shake up the meta. But the Suicide Squad looking really cool. Amanda Waller, Bloodsport, King Shark, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, Cranial Explosion, Welcome to Task Force X, General Zod, and Starro the Conqueror. Alright guys, well, that is what we are looking at for now. And I think it's time to get into this and start playing some games.